So thank you so much, Maleshane, for joining us today. Your sixth conversation, and you're our first guest from South Africa. And we
Wow.
welcome you. We thank you so much for your
Thank
time. And we just can't wait. We've been waiting for you. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. Thank you. So let's just get right into it. So I'd like to know, because I read so much about you and the work that you're doing. You're doing amazing work, by the way. I'm very inspired. And I know anyone watching will be very inspired by your work. And I always say thank you to creatives. Like, firstly, thank you. Thank you for taking
Wow.
your time to use and capitalize on your natural abilities, your talents. It's not easy in the world that we're living in to wake up one morning and say, okay, I love what I'm passionate about this and I am going to do it. So thank you so much. Thank you so much. This is going to go a long way for somebody out there who's just lost a bit of hope. So thank you so much. Let's just get right into it. So I want you to share, who is Maleshane?
Maleshane was born and bred in Johannesburg. Grew up mostly in Gauteng and boarding school in Potchefstroom, and then went on to the National School of the Arts to do a dramatic major as an actress, or theatrical actress rather. So I've always been inclined towards the creative and art space, expression, and that kind of thing. And then I went on to venture. Then I went on to Wits. I did my BA in media studies and psychology. And whilst I was there, I was job shadowing as a producer for Morning Live. And I got a great taste and feel for the media and the power of media at the SABC, it being such a prolific platform, having ventured to the economics and foreign desk just to get, and the radio desk, just to get a sense of what the possibilities are. Then went on to print at TNA as a producer as well, and then joined a venture capitalist in a advertising / business development capacity, and then went on to advertising in a more client service oriented space, dealing with brands like Heineken and Kia. And my newfound love is an entrepreneurial venture that I'm doing at the moment, which is predicated on politics, economics, wine and food, with my business partner, Adetunji Omatola, who was on the last conversation, under African Solutions Express, and that's going extremely well.
Oh my goodness. I love what you said about the power of media. Like, I'll hang on to that. We'll go back to that. I love what you said about that. That's very powerful. And could you share with us, what are you passionate about?
Well, naturally, the cultural and creative space. All of the work that I've done has always been in this space. And I mean, I generate my own content as well, because I found that I couldn't rely on the platforms that I was on to provide voice to reason or to speak truth to power. That I have a voice, and my voice is my vote. And I wanted to establish how I could participate in the discourse, in creating a discourse that is representative of a young Black woman in the 21st century, from my personal experience, because I know my experience is not ubiquitous. You know, I'm not the baseline for every Black girl in Johannesburg, or, you know, in the Afropolitan arena. But from my own perspective, how can I use my voice to uplift the countenance of humankind? How can I use my voice to raise issues that are important to me, like gender-based violence, for instance. So yeah, that's my premise.
Oh my goodness. I love what you said about speaking truth to power and
Yeah.
using your voice, because I also feel like so many young people are using their voice, but I'm not getting so much of them. Or is there a sense of fear, because obviously using your voice is you taking yourself out to the world. So I do understand that it's not easy. My next question, I'd like to know what does being a creative mean to you?
Well, I'm a spiritual person, and I believe we were created in the image of that which said, "Let there be," and there was. And whatever your premise, I believe that that is divine imagination. That we have the capacity to conjure an idea from the ethers of imagination and then bring that out into reality. And so, for me as a creative, if you think about the creative, or rather the cultural industry, it's predicated on the economy of ideas,
Yes.
and sometimes there is no interface between the ideas in and of themselves and the capital or the infrastructure that can provide that idea with an opportunity to thrive. But I think also there's an overemphasizing on stumbling blocks that we put ahead, thinking that you need money in order to generate money. And sometimes the idea is all that is required in order for you to generate something worthwhile. The business that has been started by myself and Adetunji was predicated purely on an idea. And that idea then allows for interface with different people across different walks of life, which then benchmarks new ideas and new possibilities, right? But if you're not putting yourself out there and expressing yourself and your creative identity or your creativity, those ideas don't have an opportunity to burgeon. You kind of kill them. Excuse me. You kind of kill them before they even have a chance to form.
Oh my God. I love what you said about spirituality, because when I engage with different creatives, I also get that feel. It seems like we exaggerate when we say our creativity is rooted in our spirituality. And it seems as if it's crazy. And I also like what you said about ideas birthing new possibilities. And that is what we need. We need possibility. So I really love that. And can you please tell us about your podcast, Love, War, and the Distance? And I love the title, I love it.
Thank you kindly. So it's called Love, War, and the Distance Between. And my initial preface said, I found that love and war are two spectrums of the same thing, because often enough, if you think about the revolution, whether it be the civil rights movement or the anti-apartheid movement here in South Africa, whatever revolution there has been has always been predicated on a love for humanity, a love for justice, a love for service, a common cause. And so in this, that as I've indicated, some of my prose or my poetry has a political undertaking. I think I'm more interested in the politics of love, the politics of hope, the politics of what it means to be a human being in the 21st century. And I'm still love that's looking for a place to happen and trying to articulate what that looks like in the 21st century, how I can use my gifts to serve. Because if we think about the nature of any economy, it's predicated on service. Your goods and your services, whatever they might be, which are formed from the idea, which then, you know, burgeons into something more tactile. It's all predicated on service.
Oh my
How is
goodness.
whatever it is that I hold in my mind, or whatever it is that I'm able to do, how can I use that to move society and humankind forward? That's my my ethos.
Oh, beautiful. Like, you know, I can hear when you speak, I can hear the passion in your voice, and I can hear you are born to be a poet. Like, I can hear it in how you express yourself. So I'm very moved by that, because like I'm getting goosebumps as you like I said, you're born to be, you are born to be a poet. This is something that is in you. This is in your blood. And you do it so effortlessly. You don't have to start reciting your work for me to believe that you are a poet. Like, I'm having this conversation with you, and I can feel it in my bones that no, you are poetic. So I love that, and I'm very moved by that. And can you please share with us, what are the challenges that you face as a creative in South Africa?
So I've been in the creative space, let's say conservatively, for the last 15 years, because I joined the National School of the Arts at 14, give or take. So I've had a large breadth in the industry, and I've interfaced with virtually every aspect of the media, publishing, advertising, drama, and all the different touch points that exist within those industry, whether it be events, for instance, and also the business element, and as far as clients and brands are concerned. So what I found is that there is I think the term is called juniorization of Black creatives in the industry, which I take issue with. But equally, I think it's also an indictment of the fact that we sometimes have inherited a way of thinking ideologically, and a premise around our self-worth that is detractive, that doesn't allow for us to know fully what our worth is, so that when we come into an engagement around value and what it is that you're bringing to the table, we're not able to negotiate from a place of power, because we don't know what our worth is. We don't know the worth of what we are creating, and the fact that just because it's creative doesn't in any way undercut its value, because there is a creative process, and there is any number of thinking and delving into the depths of who you are in order to produce a body of work, whether it be an advertisement or whether it be, you know, a craftsman making something beautiful to adorn your home. You know, whether it be web design, or whether, you know, there's so many facets to the creative process, whether it be the video guy who's, you know, trying to establish what the optics are going to be for your frame, you know. And I think on one hand, you need entrance to the market, you know, and so you look for any opportunity, whether it be job shadowing or in an internship, or any way to interface, and in the long term that serves you, because there's a breadth of experience that you can then leverage, because you have invested in your human capital, and you take yourself wherever you go. But equally, you take yourself at your own estimate. And I think what I'm learning now personally is to remember that there is a nominal value that is attached to my service. And not every relationship needs to be transactional. There are some projects that you're just genuinely interested in, that you enjoy the imperatives around it, that are fulfilling, to the essence of who you are, and you know full well that the money will come later, because you're not going to let infrastructure and capital be a blockade to the idea of finding roots and place to take root in the world, really.
Oh my goodness. I'm so moved. I like what you said about, being self-aware. It's very important to be aware of your value.
Yeah.
Not every creative,
Sure.
it just does that, effortlessly. It's not easy, especially because people are looking for opportunities. People are looking to get into the market, and it's not easy. So placing a value whilst you're also trying to enter is very difficult. So I really love what you said about placing value. And this is my second last question to you is, how do you want to be remembered?
As somebody who moved the conversation forward, as someone who turned the needle of time, who made a contribution, who served with her gifts, who served with her voice, who used her influence and her power and her gifts to uplift. I don't know if I'm paraphrasing someone, but I remember someone having said that your privilege is of no real value if it doesn't enhance someone else's disadvantage, because then what is the point of having privilege? And I'm educated, I am intelligent, I'm ambitious, I speak well, I'm well put together, I'm poised, I am dynamic, and I'm compelling, and I draw people to me by virtue of my aura and by virtue of my charisma and my earnesty and kindness. And that is a tool that I can use to make society a more harmonious, a more egalitarian place where feminism is at the fore.
Oh my goodness. I just love how you're so self-aware. Like it's not easy for just an individual to be so self-aware and to know what you bring to the table. You know who you are.
Wow.
That's why you know what to stand for. So I really appreciate that about you. And this is my final question to you. What advice do you have for any young creative, upcoming creative, who wants to, penetrate this market, or, is somewhere, wanting to create, but they're not encouraged to create? What words of wisdom can you share?
Go big or go home. We only have one life. There's no dress rehearsal for this thing. And you can't wait for the opportune moment. Sometimes it's incumbent on you to create an opportune moment. We're living in a time where the infrastructure is there, where, if you think about Spotify, for instance, which is where my podcast is, and there is another platform that allows you then to publish your work on Spotify and any number of other channels. So user generated content, which is what Spotify's USP is that it has allowed for people to create their own content, to create their own communities, and to grow, to share, to and to monetize that if the numbers and the ratings are compelling. We've come to a place in time where there really isn't any excuse. I think we need to start stokvels, our own stokvels as creatives, and invest in ourselves, invest in our community, right? so that the stokvel in and of itself is an opportunity for us then to invest in other things. Why aren't we putting money into, you know, a certain body and then having money from that and putting that into property? And, you know, so to generate recurring income or assets, right? Because we can't wait for government. We can't wait for
Yes.
Natim Tetwa, Honorable Natim Tetwa, to provide us with headway. The frameworks exist. Ours is to actualize the environment that's been provided for us in order for us to move ourselves forward. And I think resting on our laurels. And I think as a young person today, it has never been a more alive time, a more exciting time to be a young person, in as much as we have youth unemployment and idleness and social issues and drugs and crime and any number of things that, you know, young people then fall prey to on the basis of a lack of economic opportunities or access. But, you know, there's Udemy where you can study something online, or you have a skill, you know, perhaps you've gone to school to learn what have you, and put that online, because the knowledge economy is alive and well, and it's here and it's present, you know, and you can generate an income just by virtue of having a platform, an internet. You know, it's never been so cheap to be out there. You know, the fact that you and I are having this conversation as we speak, you know, you are in the West Rand, I am here in the East Rand. We're literally 2 poles apart. And the one thing that links us apart from our ideological imperative is the fact that we have convergence and digitization. And you are looking to monetize that. So establish, what is the one small thing that I can do that can make a big difference? Because sometimes the big things that you think you need, you don't need. Maybe all you need is a good pot or pan so you can cook your magwenyas or your slappies. Or what is the one thing as a creative person that I need, you know? And then get crowdfunding, or, you know, you'll start with your friends and family to say, okay, well, maybe I only need gas to get around and I can sell things in the back of my car. Or, you know, there are so many in the same way that you are creative about your endeavor to make something meaningful or generate an idea. Use that same creativity to say, okay, what are the opportunities here? Because there's more than one way to skin a cat.
Yes.
And I'm preaching to the congregation and the pastor and myself as I'm saying this to you, because I also have to then internalize that and say, okay, Maleshane, also you, where are you seeing stumbling blocks instead of opportunities? Because often enough, you know, necessity is the mother of all invention. Look at the needs on the ground and say, okay, well, I can create value, because that's what an entrepreneur does.
Yes.
And we're living in a time where it's more than possible if you open your mind to the infinitude.
Oh my goodness, I'm so moved. I felt that. I felt that.
Wow.
Go big or go home. You know, you've packaged it so well. Go big or go home. There is no time to be waiting on the government. Like Mr. Honorable Tetwa, like yeah, we've been waiting for funds, and yes, life is happening, but like we can't use that as an excuse. We can't. And I feel like whenever I say that, like I get so many people attacking me, but we can't. We know our communities. We know what we need in our communities. So what's keeping us? What is keeping somebody who's passionate about something in their community from starting? And I feel like maybe with young people, like you said, start small. We want to have, you know, we want to take these huge steps, and huge steps are financial steps, you know, whereas this digital age, you know, why aren't we capitalizing on technology online? That is affordable. We can reach everyone online. So you've said a mouthful, and once again, I thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for the work that you're doing. We need more of you. We need more of you. And I love that what you do is empowering. You're not just, this is a calling. You're not waking up and you know, taking this as a job. This is a calling. This is something that you're passionate about. So it goes a long way for me, because I am moved. I am inspired by your work, and I'm really moved, and I'm ready to take over the world. And I hope and I know somebody watching this will be very inspired. And thank you so much for the work that you're doing. I really appreciate your work, and more of it. We need more of it, and we need more of you. We need more
of me. Wow.
more of you.
In the poetry space, that's what we do. Dropping bars out here.
I'm trying.
Wow.
We need
That's a punchline all on its own.
Yeah, we need more of you, more of you, more Maleshane is being birthed.
Wow.
We need them. We need them in Africa. We need them. And you've started this beautiful journey, and I know you will continue birthing more Maleshanes. So I thank you so much for your time. I thank you for your work. I know that Africa will be blessed to watch you, and they will follow your work. It is a blessing to be a creative in Africa. I always say it is a blessing indeed. And the time is now. So thank you so much, Maleshane, for your time and the work that you're doing. I appreciate it so much, and appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Pierre, for having me on your platform, for your kind words, for your encouragement, and more peace and power and grace to you as well. You know, stay in your truth, stay in your grace, because this interface is very important. And there's so many ideas that emerge as a result of this that can move us forward. So thank you for being a catalyst for change.
Thank you so much. Thank you.